Welcome to At Issue. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm H. Wayne Wilson. And if you want to get the pulse of a community, all you have to do is check out the school district. And in our particular school district in Peoria, District 150 is going through some changes. I suppose that's not too surprising because we have a change in administration. And we're going to talk to the superintendent of District 150 to find out what changes are in store and what improvements we might see pending financial situation for the state of Illinois. Let me welcome to At Issue Dr. Granita Lathan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
And welcome to Peoria.
Thank you.
Your initial impressions, you come from most recently a big city, San Diego. Your impressions of Peoria?
Small town, everyone very friendly, going out of their way to meet me and welcome me to the community. But it is a small community. You have to get used to everyone recognizing you at the grocery store or the movie theater or at the local Walmart. So just readjusting to that again.
And everybody has some suggestions for you?
Oh yes, definitely some suggestions, definitely on ways that they feel that we can cut our budget and improve our financial status as a district.
Let's talk about budget, but before we do that, just for the audience's benefit, your background started in Chicago or Chicago
I started in North Carolina as a teacher in North Carolina. Then I moved on to Oak Forest, Illinois as an assistant principal and a principal at an alternative school. Returned back to North Carolina as a building principal, and then moved out to San Diego as a chief elementary school improvement officer initially, and finished up there as a deputy superintendent.
And now superintendent for District 150.
Yes.
Was there something about Peoria District 150 that said, this is Granita Lathan's style, or this is what I need to do?
Once again, the small school district, 14,000 students versus 135,000 that we had in San Diego. The smaller number of staff members, the curricular programs that are in place currently in District 150. I just felt that I had experience with those programs, that I could truly come in with a team and make a difference. So it was the appeal of things that were already in place but just needed improving.
If someone says District 150, I imagine it won't take too long for the question of money to come up because the state hasn't been helping you. What is the current budget situation for District 150 for the current fiscal year? For
the current fiscal year, we will adopt a budget on September 27th. The board will have a budget hearing on September 20th. We are looking at, we're still have a deficit, but we're looking at a way to balance our budget by making some additional cuts, looking at all of our resources in the district, looking at overtime. That's one currently. We're spending a lot in overtime. So we're looking at ways that we can cut costs, but also continue to provide quality services to our children and parents.
Overtime comes in what form? I mean, where?
Overtime, what we're paying, it could be police officers, it could be personnel at various schools. It just depends on whatever your position is, if you qualify for overtime.
And the deficit at this moment is about how much?
Right now,
we're assuming that Illinois doesn't change the rules, which they no doubt will.
Right. That's the catch. If Illinois does not change the rules, we were looking at about $5 million, but we're looking at making some additional changes. And so, like I said, that number is changing a little bit, and we're hoping that it will continue to decrease as we continue to realign and look at our budgets again.
Staying on the topic of budget, there are some in the community who have thrown out some numbers with regard to the savings by closing Woodruff High School and the expense of building the addition at Central High School, where most of the Woodruff students went this year. How much was the savings at Woodruff High School by closing it? What was the cost of making the improvements at Central? What's the bottom line there? Okay,
we're still looking at the cost of closing Woodruff. As you're aware, decisions were made last fall prior to my arrival, and we're looking at reports as we prepare for the budget hearing for September 20th to truly look at the bottom line. But keep in mind, the renovations made to Central came out of a different set of funding as opposed to the cost savings for teacher salaries, which hits the Ed Fund.
So you're required by law to have, there's life safety fund?
Life safety funds that we utilized for renovations to Central. But once again, the teacher salaries are coming out of the education fund.
And do you know off the top of your head what Central renovation cost?
No, I do not.
Let's talk about your philosophy. What do you hope to accomplish short term, and we'll talk about long term a little bit later, but short term, what is your hope here?
Short term, my hope is that children will receive a quality education during the current school year, 2010-2011, that we will make a difference in the lives of children, that we will provide our staff with quality professional development so that they can make a difference in the lives of children. For me, short term is right now, ensuring that we have multiple offerings for our children. In order to think short term or long term, you have to start planning now. So we've put some structures in place in collaboration with our union leadership. We've established our universal leadership teams where school teams are actually driving what occurs in their buildings. They're looking at student data, looking at student achievement, and developing professional development plans around the needs of the children that they serve. They're working in collaboration with our curriculum department to provide professional development across the district.
Staying on the long-term topic, you have a hope to have what you call continuous learning?
Continuous learning. You think about the traditional school calendar where students enter school late August and they finish up mid-June. But looking at offerings throughout the summer, also during school, Christmas break, Easter break, Teacher Institute Days, School Improvement Days, on Saturdays, where we can provide different academies, different learning opportunities for children so that they might participate in a science academy or a math academy or a foreign language academy. But just providing additional learning opportunities for students beyond the traditional calendar.
Optional or mandatory?
Optional. Optional. For when you think of mandatory, you think of those students that are behind, 1 or 2 grade levels behind. So we do need to look at their individualized educational plan and incorporate it as a part of their plan. So one would think that that's mandatory, but if a student is 1 to 2 grade levels behind, oftentimes they definitely need additional assistance. So you would need to look at sometimes some mandatory curriculum experiences for those children. Also long term, I would like for all of our schools to have gifted options for children. Beyond just our one gifted school in the district, I would love for gifted certified teachers to be at all of our schools, or to at least be shared between 2 schools.
Do you want to expand course offerings in the primary and middle schools?
Expand course offerings. For one, in the primary schools, I'd like to add foreign language, so students have an opportunity for foreign language exposure in the primary school. Then as they move to the middle school, exposure to a second foreign language, and then in high school, they would then select the foreign language of their choice.
This sounds pretty good on the surface, but you just told us that you're facing a $5 million deficit. You think you can fix that, but still, that's additional money to be spent, as I read it.
It's additional monies to be spent, but it's also realigning resources. You have oftentimes, there are people that will volunteer to teach. You know, you have a music teacher that volunteer to participate in a summer camp offering, or will volunteer to run a winter holiday academy. There are people that will volunteer to help, but I think it's all about us aligning our resources, partnering with community partners to ensure that our students receive a quality education. When you think about the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, other community groups, people volunteer and they do that on their own time. They do it free of charge. There are many certified retired teachers out there. There are engineers, whether they're at CAT or other companies, that will be willing to come in and provide a math or a science academy at no cost.
Do they have to be certified teachers?
When you look at offerings, when we think about a camp atmosphere, something beyond the traditional school day, on Saturdays or during winter or Christmas, winter breaks or Easter breaks, not necessarily. That you're looking for qualified adults that have experience. Think about alternative certification, that they can come in and provide opportunities for children.
Have you had a chance to talk to the head of the teachers union, Mr. Darling?
Yes, yes, I have.
And the contract's not for another year?
Another year.
And before I ask you about Mr. Darling, what's your position, because there's a lot of discussion at the national level about merit raises for teachers. Do you believe that's a good route to take?
I believe that is a route to take, that is an option as we think about being competitive, trying to attract highly qualified teachers into the profession, and to retain qualified teachers. We need to provide options for them to increase their pay, to receive bonuses for outstanding performance. You think about business and industry, a person that works maybe in finance or marketing, they receive bonuses and incentives incentives based on sales or based on the different performance of their company. Same should happen in education. So I am very open to merit pay for teachers.
Have you shared that with Mr. Darling or with others associated with the teachers union?
I've shared it, and I think I said we all can have differing opinions, but for me, that should be an option that we should consider as we think about applying for federal funding.
A lot of construction. We already mentioned Central High School expansion, but let's start with two brand new schools, or maybe I should say community learning centers, and I want to talk about that. But Harrison and Glen Oak took two 100-year-old buildings out of the educational process and put in two new buildings. What does that mean to the educational experience for those students?
It's phenomenal. Those two buildings are just outstanding. They are beacons of light for the entire community, just not only the children of District 150 or the Glen Oak community or the Harrison community, but it's something that the entire community should be proud of. When you think about community learning centers, you think about the entire community being a part of educating children. You think about outside partners coming in. Those two schools were built and designed to provide adult education opportunities, birth opportunities, so that children birth through 8th grade could have an opportunity or learning experience there. Local agencies, whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, the Salvation Army, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts would have an opportunity to participate and utilize those facilities. There are health centers or workout facilities also inside of those schools. So you think about community usage, people coming in. We're looking to partner definitely with the Park District as we look at options and thinking about healthy options for children and their parents. When you think about a full service community, you're thinking about health centers that are there on site. Parents and students can receive services through our different health clinics.
There's been an unusual amount of construction activity in District 150 over the last 18 months or so. Hines, Richwoods, Whittier, Northmore. But one I want to really focus on is TJ, Thomas Jefferson. Everyone knows it as TJ. Now, there may be some people who don't know that Thomas Jefferson is a special school. It is for young people with disabilities. You had a chance to redo it. What kind of offerings will it have, and how will that make a difference to these kids?
Now remember, it was, like I said, rebuilt as a result of a fire. Same traditional education opportunities that were provided prior to the fire. We're excited. First of all, let me say all of our buildings opened on time with all the construction that we had going on. Very special for Thomas Jefferson in that they're back in the community. I think that was a loss for the community during the time that they were in a different building. Staff trainings, the principal has already connected with the curriculum and instructional department on opportunities for her staff to ensure that she's including all students, to ensure that they're meeting the individualized learning needs of all of their children.
The alternative high school has been around for quite some time, but as I understand it, the board wants to expand the offerings of the alternative high school. What are they looking at? We
have not conducted or completed a study as to the different alternative options that might be available to children. We were looking at, in our initial discussions, of alternative options within a particular high school. So that instead of students being bused or housed at one location, if we had some alternative options at 3 high schools in the district.
Do you have any opinion yet on whether or not there should be additional closings? If my count was right, there are 31 educational facilities in the district right now, not counting administration. Are you too heavy in that regard?
We are. We honestly need to look at our numbers. We need to look at enrollment. We are down in enrollment at our middle school level. So all of our middle schools, we are looking at enrollment. We need to look at enrollment at all of our schools in the district. We are embarking on a facility study that will be completed by the end of winter. But we might have to make decisions as we move forward for the 2011-12 school year to possibly close additional schools so that we can, once again, provide a quality education to children, and that we're not financially running a building that has 150 children in it.
One of the 31 facilities is, and I don't know that a whole lot of people know about this one, but it's on Knoxville Avenue. I believe it used to be the Social Security office, Knoxville Center for Student Success. Is that a transitional type, and what kind of a student might go there?
Understanding it is a transition school for students that are experiencing some difficulties in their traditional setting or their middle school setting, and so they're there. Also keep in mind that particular building, years ago, a grant was written in order to, I guess, to operate and run that facility. So it will not change as people think about, oh, you could close that particular building. There is a designation as to how that building can and will be utilized.
The headlines have been dress code, dress code, dress code. The dress code really isn't new, is it?
No.
I mean, there's some fine tuning, but
It was fine-tuning. Previously, last school year, 4 high schools all had a dress code policy in their student handbooks. What our parent advisory committee did was take those 4 handbooks and they consolidated the dress code into one policy so that everyone across the district would understand the expectations. More emphasis on the dress code this year because we had volunteers to support us during the first 2 weeks of school that really got out and helped the staff and administration to enforce the dress policy or dress code.
So things like what won't be seen anymore?
Flip-flops, if you think about that, and if you think about flip-flops in the sense, mainly it's a safety issue. If you really think back to what you should and should not wear in a school setting, different types of sleeveless shirts and blouses are unacceptable at this point. And then pants should be at the waist, and so you should not see undergarments.
Two issues that are something that all urban school districts deal with are mobility of students and the dropout rate. Do you have particular programs or particular hopes in terms of, and the mobility you might not be able to do a whole bunch about that, but how might you mitigate the impact of that?
But in my previous school district, we did have a program in place called Home Field Advantage that we utilized in North Carolina for our students so that if they started the school year in a particular school, our school district provided transportation for them back to their home school. Even if they moved 3-4 times throughout the school year, they provided an opportunity for them to continue their learning at their home, but what we call their home school, the school that they entered on their first day of school. That was a very successful program. Initially, the district had to make a big investment in reference to transportation, but students were treated like magnet students. If you think about magnet students in most school districts, magnet students go all over, depends on where their specialty school is. And so that's how the students were treated. Like I said, very successful program. When you think about the dropout rate or improving the graduation rate, we need programs in place. We're looking at freshman academies or graduation coaches at the 9th grade level. When you think about a graduation coach, most people think about at the senior level. But we're trying to find and assign an adult that will work with students at the 9th grade level and that will follow them throughout their high school career. So they have someone to check in with them, not only with grades, with attendance, with whether there are discipline issues, or just making that connection with an adult. So those are, that's a program that we're looking at, like I said, freshman academies and graduation coaches at our 3 high schools.
Let's talk about the role of parents. Study after study shows that the best education starts with a commitment at home and then is enhanced by the teachers and administration of the school district. What are your hopes, what are your goals in terms of involving parents who may not have been involved in the past?
I think we just continue to reach out to parents, provide opportunities for parents to come into our schools, but also as a school staff, we need to get out into the communities. We need to meet parents at community centers or local churches or local when you think of a hall and places where parents would congregate, whether it's a baseball game or it could be a football game or at the local swimming pool. But we need to get out and meet with parents and let them know that it's okay. We want them in our schools. We want them to partner with us, but provide multiple opportunities for them to interact with our school personnel.
Dr. Sharon Desmoulins-Carrat down at Manual High School, the principal there, has had some success in in actually reaching out to parents. If they don't show up to a parent-teacher conference, they get a phone call or an email or some sort of communication. Might you try to replicate that?
We, like I said, we have what we call SkyAlert, where we can notify parents via telephone, via email, personal phone call from the classroom teacher or homeschool facilitator or from the principal. It's important that we continue to communicate with parents. Students that are chronically truant or absent, we can put them on an automatic dialer where we're constantly calling and waking them up and trying to get them out to schools, sending our homeschool facilitators out to conduct home visits. So there are ways to reach out and partner with parents.
You have brought half dozen people from North Carolina to the district. You smile. You smile. And there's no secret. There's some people that wonder, what are you doing? Don't we have qualified people in Central Illinois or in the state of Illinois that can serve those roles? Why do you think it's important to bring in people from North Carolina?
Well, to bring in people, period, as you build a team, whether they're from North Carolina, California, Maine, New York. As a new superintendent, as a person that has been charged to lead a school district of 14,000 students, it's important to have people that have the same values and beliefs that you do as a superintendent. That when you say, my charge is to have a gifted program in all of our schools, that I have someone that can lead that work, can go out and make that happen. When my staff reports back to me, this is where we are. For example, thinking about the gifted program, they've already started conversations with Bradley University. How can we ensure that we have gifted certified teachers in our classrooms? As you build a team, you want people that can work independently, that truly get it when it means putting children first. And not saying that people in Central Illinois don't have it, but once again, it's aligning with those values and beliefs, understanding that we might have to do double duty, triple duty sometimes. We have multiple roles. So your title might say superintendent. However, there are times that I might need to drive a bus. There are times I might need to referee a football game. There are times I might need to go in and substitute a kindergarten class with an assistant, hopefully. But that's what it comes down to.
So you have a commercial driver's license?
No, but I'm working on it at this point.
I just want to make sure that we have qualified bus drivers.
But it means going out and getting the qualifications needed if that's what's needed to do the job. And when you think about assembling a team, I go back to, you look from within to see, okay, who's here that has the same values and beliefs and that can build from that. And then you also start looking at people who have experiences in where you want to go. I want us to have the magnet offerings throughout our district so that it's not situated at just one or two schools, that every feeder pattern has maybe magnet offerings, or we have world language or foreign language classes or opportunities at our schools. So I'm looking for people that have that previous experience of getting the job done that can do that. And so you do tap into people that you know, that you've worked with, that have already gotten results.
Would you consider, having come in from a couple of other school systems, is District 150 administratively heavy?
No, we're not administratively heavy. What I think people need to do is truly take a look at a school district our size and compare it to other school districts across the country. You think we're probably, the fourth largest school district, I think, considered to be in the state. But when you compare to the central offices maybe in Rockford or Springfield or Decatur, you'll see that we're just as equally balanced. It's important, though, to have the right people to meet the needs, the federal requirements. We are a school district with over 70% of our students receiving free and reduced lunch. So there are guidelines that we have to follow at the federal and the state level. We also have 31 facilities that must be managed and maintained. You know, we're already running a deficit, so you need certain people in financial positions. And then the core of our being is the curriculum instruction. You need a certain number of people in order to make things happen for all of the disciplines when you think about curriculum. So we're not top heavy.
We started the conversation on budget. Let's finish on budget. You have a lot of ideas, but they're going to take a little bit of money, and you can't rely on the state of Illinois. So where might you turn?
We will apply for federal grants. There are a lot of opportunities right now for innovative ideas. Big push by our president and our U.S. Secretary of Education. So we will apply for public funding and also private funding. There are foundations out there. You think about Panasonic Foundation, Gates Foundation, that they're willing to provide also funding for innovative programs. And so we will look at those. We will also look at how we utilize our federal dollars that were being assigned to us right now, and how can we expand the offerings and professional development for teachers and also student offerings.
And you have hired a grant writer?
We have our associate superintendent has previous experience as a grant writer.
Okay. And with that, the half hour is gone, just like that. Dr. Granita Lathan, thank you so much for joining us on Ed Issue, and welcome to Peoria.
Thank you.
And best of luck in what might not be the easiest job in Central Illinois.
Thank you.
And we thank you for joining us on At Issue. We'll be back next week with another edition. Please be with us then.